Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Boho Bonnie, and this channel is kind of all over the place. I'm basically using it as a means to get better at video editing, since this is now a big part of my core day job. So I have been trying to put out videos about once a week, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, and I talk about basically whatever I want to talk about. So anything from plants to politics. And today I'm actually going to be kind of going outside of everything else I've done before and talk to you about a tool I use almost on a daily basis now. And this tool is called Canva. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. I use the pro version, but there is an absolutely free version that you can still do a ton of stuff with. And I'm going to show you just a few of the things that you can do. I'll probably get into some deeper tutorials a little bit further out, but today I was just going to kind of play around with something in there, and so I thought, hey, what the heck, I might as well record it and show you what I'm doing. The best way for me to describe to you what Canva is, if you've never used it, is it's kind of a dumbed down version of Photoshop. And not dumbed down in the sense that it can't do as much. Well, it probably can't do as much, but Photoshop, let's face it, most of us do not need all of the capabilities that Photoshop has to offer, and it also has a very steep learning curve. With Canva, it's super intuitive. It is very plug and play, and it's just so incredibly easy to use. The Pro membership is, I think, $12.99 or so a month, and 100% worth it. For myself, you might find that you love it so much that it's worth it to you as well. But like I said, the free version, you can do a ton with the free version. You'd be actually surprised. You can use this for anything from photo editing to creating a logo, bringing in graphics to make a presentation better. You can do some light video editing on it. And there's tons of stock images, stock elements, photography, video, all kinds of things that you can use to just bring anything that you're doing to life, including social media posts, digital artwork, t-shirt design. The list goes on and on and on. Now, Canva Pro is what I use for my t-shirt shop, which is on Etsy. So I'll get in here, I'll kind of have an idea in my head about a t-shirt I would like to create. I get into Canva, I create the design, I download the files, and then I upload it into my third-party vendor that I use in coordination with my Etsy shop. So we might have to go over that at a later time if there are those of you that are interested in creating your own t-shirts and selling them online. So today, what I really wanted to play around with was I've been creating some kind of digital artwork based on icons. So some of these are musicians, some of them are activists, just people that I find influential. And I basically take a good picture of them that I find online. I remove the background, and then I put some funky, cool elements and background in the background of their image. And I'll show you what a couple of those look like momentarily. And then we'll go ahead and create one. So let's go ahead and dive into Canva and see what it looks like. All right, so here we are. This is the main Canva dashboard or main homepage that you'll get to. It looks the same whether you're on the free or pro membership, and there will be certain elements that are only available if you're a pro or paid subscriber to the software. But the first thing we're going to want to do in this process is go find our icon, find the photograph of the, influential person or whoever that you want to highlight within this digital portrait. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to open up a new Google tab. We're going to search for who we want to have on here. And I was thinking it would be fun to highlight our man of the year, Lil Nas. So let's do a Google image search. First, I just Google the name, and then I go over here to images. And we're going to look at images, specifically images that are very high resolution, clean, crisp, a nice kind of flat background that the background removal software isn't going to have a terrible time figuring out how to remove. So let's look at a couple options. This first picture that comes up, beautiful, very high, crisp, great definition. But if you notice the pixels at the very bottom, the 535 by 640, if you hover over that, that isn't going to give us as good of a outcome as if we did something like this picture right here, which is an 1800 by 1800. It's going to be a lot crisper and higher definition. Also, these particular two images have really great backgrounds that are going to be able to be removed very easily because there's not these kind of like overlapping colors, where if we were trying to do a picture like this, the background remover tool is going to have a little bit of a hard time trying to decipher what's what and what we want to remove from the background. And so bear that in mind as well. So once we find a picture, we're going to just, save it to our computer, save it in your downloads or in a special folder, but make sure it's somewhere where you can get back to it and remember where it is. So once you've done that, we are going to go ahead and get our design created in Canva. Now there's a couple ways to do this. As you can see in the main banner, it gives you several options. You can also look up here for templates. I always usually go over to this created design. It also gives you several suggestions. Now all these are different sizes. So basically they're not changing much in terms of what you're actually able to do, unless it's actually like a video and then it'll insert different frames for you. But for the most part, if you can see, they're just different sizes. And so let's go ahead and do a desktop wallpaper, just a simple 1920 by 1080. Now this, as you can see, is a landscape. So if we had a photo that was more of a vertical portrait, we would want to make sure that we picked more of a portrait size. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go to our uploads over here, and we're going to upload the photo that we want to highlight. And so I actually had already previously gone in and grabbed a few pictures of Lil Nas. And so let's go ahead. I want to make sure that it's one of the ones that's more of a landscape layout. And so let's do this one. I think this one will look really cool. So all I got to do is click on it and it's going to automatically take it over here. The next thing that I need to do, if I'm using Canva Pro, I can automatically remove the background right here just by clicking the edit image button and then clicking background remover. And it's going to go in and try to remove those clouds from the background. I'm hoping it doesn't have any problems with the butterfly because I want the butterfly to stay. Oh, the butterfly we lost, but you know what? We'll add a butterfly. No biggie. Canva can handle that. And so I'm not going to make him full screen just yet because first I'm going to want to go in and pick what background elements I want. Now, if you don't have Canva Pro and you don't want to sign up for the free trial or subscribe, there is a workaround. There is a tool called remove.bg, or you can just go and Google background remover free and it'll come up with a few options. I've used this one before. The only downside to these versus the Canva option is that these are going to limit your resolution to 500 by 500. So if it is something that you plan on printing out, may not give you the best output. But all you have to do, it's really easy, is just upload your image and it'll automatically remove that background for you. And then you download, and then they of course have a paid option if you want that higher resolution. So let's go back to our design here. And next thing we're going to do is go over here to elements, and we're going to pick a background. And so the easiest way that I like to do this is just kind of think about what kind of element I would want in the background. And then I'm just going to search. I'm just going to type it into the search tool. So for Lil Nas, I'm thinking we could do disco, we could do dance party, we could do rave, we could do, I don't know, just whatever. So let's go ahead and search rave and see what comes up. So it's going to bring up all kinds of things. It's going to bring up photos, videos, audio, all kinds of stock images. Usually what I do for these types of particular portraits, I mean, we could put a photo background with him, but I really like the graphic elements and really kind of bringing that digital design part to life. So I'm going to filter it down to graphics. Now this is where you can filter it down from free and Canva Pro. So I can click on this extra little filter button and go all the way to the bottom, and I could just look at the free elements. Now it's not going to give you nearly as many, especially in terms of graphics, but look how many photos you still have access to. Still a ton of photos and videos that are free to use. And of course this will change, you know, if you search different options. And so the one thing that you do appear to be a little bit limited on is the graphics though. So since we've got the Pro version, we're not at a disadvantage here, and I can go through and look, and I can see already some really, really cool ones. I think that, I mean, this just screams Lil Nas to me. This one right here. Let's see what else we've got. You're just going to want to really play around with it and do a lot of trying different things because there's just so much. I really like this one with the planets. Let's try that. So what I want to do first is I want to send this to the back. So I right click it. I want to send it behind Lil Nas, right? We want it to be behind him. So now you can see I'm moving it and it is behind him. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this and make it take up the full screen. And this is where I may need to, I really need to go ahead and make this a smaller size because as you can see, it's fitting great here. I don't necessarily want to mess it up by that. So what I do to get that done is I'm basically going to pull this where I want it to go, and it'll show me the size that I need. I need 1103 by 1080 is that exact size. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here up in the upper left-hand corner and click resize. And we're going to do 11, I can't remember, was it 1103 by 1080? I think it was. Yes, 1103 by 1080. And it will automatically resize it for us. Okay, so now we're going to take it and we're going to make it the full size. Okay, so now I can also crop the picture. So I'm not really needing all that extra space on the side of him. I just need to make sure I don't actually crop anything out of his picture. And so we're going to pull it, make it a little bigger here. I can pull it off the screen if I need to as well. Okay, so there, that's really good. Now, is there anything else that we want to add on top of this? We might search for another element. Let's see if we can add back in the butterfly. So let's search for a butterfly here. We've got plenty of options. We obviously don't want to pick any that are moving because obviously if you end up printing this or using it as your desktop background or something, that's usually not going to transfer over those kind of moving elements. And so we do want one of them that is stationary. Sometimes the Pro version eligible ones will allow you to change some of the color elements. And so if I say wanted to add some purple or something to this, I could totally do that. Also, I'll say that, let's say I wanted to add another butterfly that was similar to this one, but I wanted him in another, you know, kind of form or function or whatever. They've got these magic recommendations, and it'll basically show you similar. So we can see this one right here. It's very similar to that one, but he's actually facing a different direction. So I could take this one and maybe put it over here. So here we've got this. Now let's say that I wanted to add a background. This is where I could do that. So I can go back in, and this is something I could set from the very beginning, but I didn't know which route this was going to go from the very beginning. Another thing that I really like about Canva is this document colors. And so this really kind of gives you a good layout of what colors are already in your particular photo. And so it's showing me what colors I could do that would blend well. I really like that lighter color. Could also go with something a little bit more funky because, I mean, it's Lil Nas, we might as well, right? And so let's put these back where they go. Sometimes you have to kind of play around with them. There we go. All right. There we go. So, yeah, what do you think? Literally took this just a few minutes to create a really cool picture. And I hope this gives you some ideas that you could use. You could even do this with your own pictures, your own friends and family members. I've actually created some fun kind of headshots. I'm like, why do headshots always have to be so boring? So I've gone in and, done the background remover tool on my own face, and then, added some funky, cool, like floral and botanical elements in the background. So I'll try and insert a picture of that so you can see it. So now we've got our photo, our digital artwork, digital portrait finalized, and it's ready to download. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to our download button, and I suggest PNG is great if you're going to be considering printing it at any point in the future. If you're going to be emailing it out or putting it on a web page or anything like that, where you might want a smaller, more condensed file size, you might go with the JPEG option there. It's going to automatically download at the size that you've created it in. If you need it to be a larger or smaller size for whatever reason, you can adjust that here. And you can also do transparent backgrounds. Now, this wouldn't necessarily work with this one because we want the background, but if I did want only the picture of Lil Nas, or, I had pulled in an element and I didn't want any of the background, if you do have Canva Pro, you are allowed to download with the background automatically removed. And you can also compress the file. So we'll go ahead and download it, put it in a folder that you remember where it is, and you are then good to go. So that is Canva and Canva Pro in a nutshell. We used it to create a really cool digital artwork or portrait. And there's just so many things that you can do with Canva. So I highly recommend you get in there, start playing around with the free version. I guarantee you're going to want to check out that pro version at some point once you're ready. But the possibilities and opportunities with Canva are limitless. So I really challenge you to think outside of the box when it comes to Canva. I hope this was helpful. We'll do some other tutorials in Canva in the future because there's definitely a lot of different things that I go to Canva on a regular basis to do, and I want to make sure I share those with you. So without further ado, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, all of the cringy self-promotion things I have to say, and I hope you have a wonderful and fantastic day.